Black or white, ancient Egyptian race mystery is now solved in this video. If you watch to the end, I'm sure you will ask no more. Greetings, brothers and sisters, and thank you so much for watching the African Diaspora News channel together with the African Diaspora News Insider. My name is Osie The Born Child, and today let's solve one of the oldest mysteries in African history. Egyptologists, writers, scholars, and others have urged the race of the ancient Egyptians since at least the 1970s. Some today believe they were sub-Saharan Africans. We can see these interpretations portrayed in Michael Jackson's 1991 music video for Remember the Time from his Dangerous album. The video, a 10-minute film, includes performances by Eddie Murphy and Magic Jackson. Reactionaries, meanwhile, say that there had never been any significant black civilization, an utter falsehood, of course. There was several, in fact, highly advanced African empires and kingdoms throughout history. Curiously, some extreme right groups have even used blood group data to proclaim a Nordic origin to King Tutankhamun and his brethren. The problem, it was thought, was that mummy DNA couldn't be sequenced. But a group of international researchers using unique methods have overcome the barrier to do just that. They found that the ancient Egyptians were mostly closely related to the people of the Near East, particularly from Levant. This is the Eastern Mediterranean, which today includes the countries of Turkey, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon. The mummy used were from the New Kingdom and later period, a period later that the Middle Kingdom, when Egypt was under Roman rule. Modern Egyptians share 8% of their genome with the Central Africans, far more than ancient ones, according to the study published in the journal Nature Communications. The influx of sub-Saharan genes also occurred within the last 1,500 years. This could be attributed to the trans-Saharan slave trade or just from regular long-distance trade between the two regions. Improved nobility on the Nile during the period increased trade with the interior. Researchers still claim all this. But hey, please don't be quick to judge. Watch the video to the end such that you give a proper argument. Egypt, over the span of antiquity, was conquered many times, including by Alexander the Great, the Greeks, Romans, Arabs, and more. Researchers wanted to know if these constant waves of invaders caused any major genetic change in the populace over time. Group leader Wolfgang Hack at the Max Planck Institute in Germany said in a press release, the genetics of the Absil el-Malek community did not undergo any major shifts during the 1300 years time span they studied, suggesting that the population remained genetically relatively unaffected by foreign conquest and rule. The study was led by archaeologists Johannes Klaus, also of the Max Planck Institute. Historically, there's been a problem finding intact DNA from ancient Egyptian mummies. The study noted that the hot Egyptian climate, the high humidity level in many tombs, and some of the chemicals used in mummification techniques contribute to DNA degradation and are thought to make the long-term survival of DNA in Egyptian mummies unlikely. I don't know if someone is being keen and observant with the report and observations and the findings. It was also thought that even if genetic material were recovered, it may not be reliable. Despite this, Klaus and colleagues have been able to introduce robust DNA sequencing, the verification techniques, and completed the first successful genomic testing on ancient Egyptian mummies. Each come from Absil El Malik, an archaeological site situated along the Nile, 70 miles south of Cairo. First, the mitochondrial genome from 90 of the mummies were taken. From these, Klaus and colleagues found that they could get the entire genomes from just 3 of the mummies in all. For this study, scientists took teeth, bone, and soft tissue samples. The teeth and bone offered the most DNA. They were protected by the soft tissue, which has been preserved through the embalming process. Researchers took these samples back to a lab in Germany. They began by sterilizing the room. Then they put the samples under UV radiation for an hour to sterilize them as well. From there, they were able to perform the DNA sequencing. Scientists also gathered data on Egyptian history and archaeological data of northern Africa to give their discoveries some context. They wanted to know what changes had occurred over time. To find out, they compared the mummies' genomes to that of 100 modern Egyptians and 125 Ethiopians. The oldest mummy sequence was from the New Kingdom, 1388 BCE, when Egypt was at the height of its power and glory. The youngest was from 426 CE, when the country was ruled from Rome. The ability to acquire genomic data on ancient Egyptian is a dramatic achievement which opens up new avenues of research. Still, I repeat, please watch to the end and know where I'm going with this video. One limitation, according to their report, all their genetic data was obtained from a single site in Middle Egypt, and this may be not the representation for all the ancient Egypt. The genetic makeup of the people may have been different, being closer to the interior of the continent. Researchers in the future want to determine exactly when sub-Saharan African genes spread into the Egyptian genome and why. They will also want to know where ancient Egyptians themselves came from. To do so, they will have to identify all the DNA from, as Klaus said, back further in time in prehistory. Using high throughput DNA sequencing and cutting-edge authentication techniques, researchers proved they could retrieve reliable DNA from mummies, despite their unforgiving climate and damaging embalming techniques. Further testing will likely contribute much knowledge to our understanding of the ancient Egyptians and perhaps even those from other places as well, helping to fill in the gaps in humanity's collective memory. But of course, Egyptians were Africans. No matter how they try to steal our history, if Egypt didn't have all the fascinating rich history, you would see how the story would change. There should never be an issue as who true Egyptians are, black or white, with pure ignorance and fear, masking the truth. Like, how do you start researching who ancient Egyptians were, yet knowing Egypt is well located in Africa? Ancient Egyptians worshipped numerous gods, of which one of them, the most important, was Horus, a Greek word for Heru or Ha, as the Egyptian called it. The Edif text traced the origin of Horus or Helu, the old symbolized by the pharaohs from eastern Central Africa, where Helu was called Hal and worshipped also as a god of their kingdom known as Pharaoh. I would say, of course, The older Egyptians were dark-skinned. Through the years, with invasions by Greek, Arabs, etc., their ethnicity became mixed, just like modern Greek today with the Turkish invasion. I am grateful they carved themselves into stones. It is interesting because it's like they knew race and skin color was a big problem we would face. But then again, how can Egyptians be white in the northern corner of Africa? Arabs came in later, the original name of Kemet. That means land of the dark faces. The pharaohs were black. They were Cushites that moved from the southern eastern part of Egypt around Uganda, Sudan, Somalia, and Ethiopia. It amazes me that even a question can be drafted for this discussion. Since when were African people not Africans? The mixing came in when Alexander the Great conquered Egypt. Simple. It is a mystery why this is even an issue. But hey, why do you think? What do you think that researchers even have to go deep and take DNA to determine if ancient Egyptians were black or white? Amidst all facts very clear for even a young one to know. My name is Osie The Born Child. Thank you so much for watching the African Diaspora News channel and the African Diaspora News Insider. I'll be seeing you in another video. But for now, let's meet in the comment section and discuss in details. Love you all, brothers and sisters. Bye-bye.